Alright, on this video, what I thought I would do is teach you how to plan your build correctly. Because I know a lot of people might be intimidated by this process, and some people, frankly, may not have all of the money to source all of the components at the same time. But if you're able to plan your build in a way that actually makes sense, then you will save yourself a lot of headaches and a lot of hassle, because this process is actually very, very simple. With the modern hardware that we have these days, it's actually very, very simple. But like I said in my previous tech tutorial, because a lot of people are not tech savvy, this is for them. All right, so this is going to help eliminate the confusion as to how all computers work in general, all of them, whether you've got a laptop, desktop, cell phone, tablet, whatever. Every single piece of technology has very similar functions to one another. All right, and I'm going to explain how it is in this video. Now, the first thing to understand is that before you can start assembling your computer, you have to start with the platform. And the platform consists of the processor, which in this case I have the Ryzen 5 5600G. Let me just zoom in on this so you can see a little bit better. Alright, I have the Ryzen 5 5600G, which is clocked at 3.99 gigahertz. So this is one part. The second part on the platform is the Gigabyte B550M DS3H AC. The AC on the end here stands for the built-in Wi-Fi that's built into the board. Let me just click on this and show you. Let me just scroll down here. Click on this. I just opened up the Amazon buying page where you would order this product yourself. All right. When I click here, you see these two antennas here in the middle, where I'm pointing the mouse. This is the Wi-Fi antenna. All right, and the motherboard is going to come with the antenna itself to plug it in. So these are the two connectors that it will have, and that's the reason why the AC, like it says here on the page, is on this, as part of the model itself. If it was just the regular DS3H version without this on it, then it wouldn't have these connectors here. It would just be normal, right? So that's the second part on the platform. The third part on the platform is the memory, and for this build I chose the Corsair Vengeance LPS 16 gigabyte RAM of RAM. Let me repeat that. This is the Corsair Vengeance LPS series 16 gigabyte kit. All right, so this is the memory. This is what it looks like. All right, so all three of these represent the platform. So pretty much regardless of the amount of memory that you want to install on your board, it has to be compatible with the motherboard itself because it's part of the platform. All right, so let's say you're running an old generation system that's still running DDR3 memory. There's no way you'll be able to transplant that memory into a new motherboard, because all modern motherboards nowadays are now only supporting DDR4 or DDR5 type memory. That's it. You can't move backwards, you can only move forwards. All right, and that's just the way that it is. All right, so that's the platform: the CPU, motherboard, RAM. So before you even start thinking about your case or anything like that, you make sure that all three of these are going to be compatible. And there are plenty of tutorials on YouTube now to show you which parts are going to be compatible with each other, so you won't end up getting this process wrong. The only reason that I use PC Part Picker most of the time is because I've been using this tool for a long while. And I've actually had, and I also have experience building a Ryzen 5 5600G before. So I already know for a fact that the Gigabyte B550M DS3H is compatible with the processor, and the memory is also going to be compatible because it's from Corsair and it's DDR4 type memory. That's how I know. Now, the next thing to order on the list would be the power supply. The reason why I'm saying this is because you can actually test a system without a case if you know how to do it. You see, on the motherboard itself, let me just zoom out here and show you. On the motherboard itself, there is something called the front panel connectors, and it's in this area down here. The way how you could test your system without the case is by bridging the power pin connectors to allow the system to turn on. Alright, it's a very small connector on the motherboard itself, and it's usually labeled PW or PWR for the power switch. So depending on the motherboard manufacturer itself, they may have these labeled a little bit differently, but it's all the same thing really. And once you understand where to look for the pins on the motherboard, they're usually on the bottom right portion of the board itself. All right, they're going to be all labeled, you know, RW for the reset switch, PW for the power switch, HDD LED for the hard drive light, and all this stuff in between. Is usually all labeled for the front panel connectors. And all you're going to do is you're going to look for the one labeled power switch and bridge those two connectors. And the way how you would be able to do that is by using something like a flathead screwdriver. Alright, so what you would do is you will use something like this to bridge the connectors on the motherboard itself. It's not going to damage it like some people think it does. That's not the way how it works, because it's all metal, and the same thing is the same thing that the case is going to do when you connect it from the case itself. But remember, we don't want to have to build the system inside of the case only to find out that there's something wrong with the motherboard, or there's something wrong with the power supply or the memory. That's why I'm recommending building outside of the case first before you start even thinking about assembling your build. Because if you have to return something, you're going to have to take it all apart all over again. It makes no sense doing it that way. And that's why I recommend ordering the parts like this, where once you set up your platform with the motherboard, the CPU and the RAM with the power supply together, you'll be able to verify right away that whether or not it works. Because another thing, like I keep recommending, is making sure that the graphics is built into the CPU. This is how I'm able to always keep my prices to a minimum, because I'm integrating the graphics with the processor itself. You see, when I click here on the processor and I go over to the specifications of the processor itself, you know, forget about all this confusion here. All you really need to know is that the processor itself already has graphics built in. Look, it's right here. Integrated graphics Radeon Vega 7. So this is the model of it already built in for you. That's it. It's very, very, very simple. But companies, you know, and some people alike, you know, some enthusiasts, they like to make this process so complicated to suit themselves. That's it. It's all about them. It's not about you. All right? And that's the honest truth about it. So once you get your platform with the power supply all set up, if everything is compatible and the manufacturers know what they're doing, you will get your post right away. You won't have to apply any BIOS updates. You won't have to do anything like that. You'll be able to see it on the screen when you hook it up without the case. That's how it is. So then the next part to order will be the solid state drive itself. And the solid state drive, the one that I chose here, is the Crucial P3 1TB version. The reason why I chose this is because it's only $42 right now on Amazon, and it's already able to carry 1 TB of capacity. That's roughly 1000 gigabytes in your arsenal. So that means you could not only install a few games and play them, but you could also use it to install some maybe some video editing software, or some streaming software, or you could use it to play store some music, store some movies. It just depends on how you want to use your system. Now, one time I would have recommended 500 gigabytes, which would be at least half of this. But let me show you right now on my computer. My 500 gigabyte solid state drive is already filling up. It's hard to maintain it nowadays because I got a few games and everything loaded up on it. So the thing about it is that it's very hard to maintain nowadays because of the amount of applications I have on it. But it's okay. At least I now know that with a 1 TB solid state drive, it should be more than adequate for most people in the beginning. All right, and that's why I recommend this capacity right now. And then last but not least would be the case, and the case will be for your assembly process. All right, so for the case, I chose the Cooler Master Masterbox MB311 ARGB case. All right. Yes, I could have gone with a simple basic chassis, but I mean, come on, this thing has some nice fans to go along with it to the front. So even though the components are mostly for an office build or home use, it will still look nice in your home, and it's not that big. Let me show you something. The nice thing about the PC part picker community is that they can show you before you decide to buy something, how it will look before you assemble it. Because you see, a lot of these people on here, they will share the builds that they had experience with you, so that you can see the products. You see, the case has a side panel window, so you can see all your parts on the inside, and here are the fans at the front. Let me go back to another page here and show you. And you see, there are many different ways that these people would use these cases with different hardware configurations, I mean. So you could just come in here and you could just click around, and it's all for free. You don't have to pay for this, you know. So you can come in here and take a look at the case yourself, and if you like it, you can purchase it for yourself. And I mean, right now on Amazon, the price of this case is only $75 US. It's 17% off right now. So I mean, to me, it makes a lot of sense, because let's say, for instance, you wanted to convert your computer into a real gaming PC. Because the power supply here is 600 watts already, you could plug a nice mid-range graphics card into it and convert it for gaming. Or let's say the 600 watt power supply is not good enough for you. This is what I would do. I'm going to take this off the list, and I'm going to look for the 700 watt version of this power supply here, and add it to the list. Here it is, the Thermaltake 700 watt power supply. You see that? And all I literally did was replace the 600 watt with the 700 watt model. It's just that simple. And right now, I think it's only like, $10 more or so. Yeah. and this power supply would be large enough to support, gaming session needs and stuff like that. No problem. And because Thermaltake is a very good brand for power supplies, I see no problem in going with them. And that's how you would plan your build. It's very, very simple, as you can see. uh, there's nothing to be concerned about with, uh, if there's something that you can't afford right now, this is how to do it. Like I said before, you get your CPU, you get your motherboard, you get your RAM, and then you get your power supply. That way you can test the machine right away. Because like I said before, if there's a problem, you need to know right away. It doesn't make any sense to wait until you get all the other parts, only to find out that there's something wrong with the platform, especially where the motherboard is concerned. This is your foundation. This is where the magic happens, really, when you turn your system on. Okay, that's how it works. So that's all I really have to say for now. um like I said, building computers, man, is very, very uh rewarding when you're able to assemble your own computer from scratch, or in the case where you're not comfortable building. It's still, in my opinion, beneficial, because building your computer allows you to gain some skills, and because the parts on here are all um, made on certain standards that never ever change, it means that being able to replace the parts is much easier. It's not as complicated or hassle, a lot of trouble like a lot of people think it is. It's very, very simple. So that's it for now. This is Zulu 67 signing off.